All right, bro, check this out. What's going on? The man, the myth, the legend. I wanted to hold mine up. Number one, there's nothing on it, and number two, it's a hot coffee right over my computer.
Lauren's
gonna pour coffee on my computer. Lauren's
Lauren's
so
you
good.
hold yours up, and then
everything breaks. Y'all, we have three people here today, and not only do we have three people, there is a lady with us. That's crazy. This is no longer just two bros hanging out.
The intro's amazing. We have three people with us, and one's a lady.
Let's go. Oh man, our target audience just got so much wider. Oh my god. What's up? I'm Sam, and
I'm Mark.
This is Mark, and
I'm Lauren.
Lauren's in the middle. Lauren, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. You came a while ago, and can you remind everybody what you shared with us?
We
and just
about
who you
vampires.
are as well.
We talked about vampires for so long, and it was great.
And
it was great.
So I feel like I'm that like SNL person who comes in on the weekly update. It's like that girl that knows about monsters. That I guess is my my niche at this point.
That's a good skit.
Pretty good niche.
What is it?
Always so good.
There's a book that I have to read, actually. It's called He Who Fights Against Monsters or something like this. It's like kind of like a Dungeon Crawler Carl type of thing, which you got into Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I'm in book 6 right now.
We have to do an episode on that.
My gosh, she burned through it so quick. Okay.
She burned through it. How many have you read?
I'm on
She's
number
at
6. And like what keeps happening is like I just got the notification from my library that it's due in 3 days, and I'm like, oh no!
You read your books like it's Blockbuster Video in 1990. Hey, you gotta turn it back in 3 days. You're like, whoa, gotta watch it. Oh, get off my plate. Okay, I saw it. It was so good. Thank you, Harrison Ford.
It is Blockbuster in 1996 because that is the library, and that book is in demand, bro. So they'll come to your house, bro.
They will. They'll be like, oh no, you can't have, because like a lot of times you can renew books several times, and this one they're like, no, too many people are waiting.
No.
Like,
oh really?
Like this is the only book we're even giving out anymore.
Right.
The entire industry is going to shut down if you don't turn this book back.
In my heart of hearts, I picture them coming. They kick down your door, and they instantly go, it's just grandmas with class, and they instantly go, shh, give us the book. And
you're like, your library card.
Wait.
Carl and Donut, oh no.
It's like the Western. They like the Kill Bill. But yeah, so
guitar in the background.
Yeah. Lauren is sort of honestly, I think you should just like go with the label that you are a literary scholar, because you studied literature. You got your freaking degree, like basically in literature. And what was your specialization again? Monsters.
So we're monsters. We're dipping into actually the other side of my degree. So I came on for vampires primarily for my like 19th century literature specialty, but this is medieval literature is kind of what we're digging into. And ancient. I had to kind of dip a little further back for this one, but medieval Brit lit mostly, but yeah.
I think we both had to read Beowulf. Brit lit.
I love Beowulf. It's so I reread it for this.
I know. I was like, geez, I told you to take it easy, man. I told you we don't come prepared at all.
Short.
Like, take it easy.
That's why I didn't finish Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah.
We told her, oh no, now they're coming. The libraries are coming for us now. We heard it was your fault. I heard that we told you. Well, I didn't heard. I know we told you 3 days ago, and the fact that you read a book, you got a bunch of notes. You got close to finishing Dungeon Crawler Carl 6. You know what I did? I shaved my head and played with my son. I wrote two little scripts for Sam and I.
Yeah, he wrote some scripts too. He did some movie stuff.
Stud.
I cut the grass. It was really big. It was really thick. It was so thick. I had to sharpen my lawnmower blade first. Which is going to get into one of our scripts, by the way.
Yes, it is actually.
I did other things too, but
you did a lot of other things.
I ate a pizza and a half. That was important.
These are the mundane things. You also ran a whole thing at church and kept keeping things moving on for our fasting time. Good stuff, everybody.
Did do that. Good stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we're pumped. So we're going to spend a little time with Lauren. She is going to. Okay, here's where we're coming from. I'm not going to claim this over you, Mark, but I'm just going to admit it for me. But like, I don't know very much about dragons. So when I'm a sci-fi and fantasy author, and when I started writing, my first book that I wrote was a fantasy book, and all I knew, I had one thing, I had a theme that popped in my head that I was like, oh my gosh, I have to figure this out, which was just built around the word the paraclete, which is like it's like a helper, like paladin type of guard kind of character, and I was like, ooh, I want to explore this a little bit more. And then I had the second thing that came to my mind was I'm not writing medieval because I feel like it's an overused setting. I'm not doing that. It's not going to be. I'm not doing Oliver Twist. I'm not doing Mistborn. I'm not doing freaking Streets of London and there's rats everywhere and oh my
I knew
God,
you were going to Sam.
Edwardian
does
London.
not-
they
He
threw their
does
pee
not
out the
wanna write
window and
about
it's
it.
so gross and there's the bubonic plague. Oh no! And I was like, no. And
Your
then I was like,
timelines are a disaster.
I know. So that's that. But when I think about that, I think about the medieval, and I was like, dude, I'm not doing like the same armor and the freaking shield with the cross on it. I'm like, no, stop, no. So
that guy comes into this, by the way.
Yeah, which it does.
He's here.
Yeah, I took an ancient
Yeah.
Greek and I said no dragons straight up because I just feel like it's around a lot. But now that I'm getting into this, I'm like, okay, I'm becoming a sci-fi fantasy writer. If I say that I just don't do dragons, like for no reason, then to be different, like that's a cop out, and I need to learn. Like even if I still decide not to dig into dragons, I need to learn something about them because I feel like most fantasy fans will be like, you don't do dragons, just go write in another genre. You're out of our genre, and they might be right.
You know, you can do dragons with extra steps where you take the concept of what the dragon represents and you bring something else in.
And that's part of what we're getting into today, I hope, is to kind of get like, what is the allure? What is it about this monster that's so iconic? What elements of that do I want to borrow? And maybe there's another monster I can create. Maybe I fall in love with dragons. That's all I ever write about is dragons for the rest of my life. And on my deathbed, there's like a pencil in my hand and there's a half-drawn dragon, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Epitaph is Sam. He
that
lies
dude
with
loved his dragons.
Wait, they just say that dude loved. There's like
father
Bill
of
Johnson
two,
said,
and did he love dragons?
He really loved it's dragons with the W, dragons.
So the only dragons I really know is just Smaug, and then and then dragons in Pokemon. I know all of the dragons in Pokemon. And I know that fairy kills dragon, and so dragon is kind of like depleted as a category overall. So maybe that's part of my issue. Is I'm like fairies kill dragons, so it doesn't. So why don't we save Lauren in Pokemon? They do, yeah. So let's
and in Edmund Spencer actually.
Oh, maybe there's a basis for that.
St. George kills the dragon.
This becomes a Pokemon episode. Oh my god! So Mark, what's your background with dragons?
I think maybe like I'm either like a 4 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10 in what I think my knowledge is. And after this conversation, I'll be a solid 2 out of 10 because I'll be like, oh, I've grown. I didn't know what I didn't know. But
I'm a 2. I'm a 2, and I'm gonna be a 0 at the end of this conversation.
Yeah, we're just redoing. 10. We're gonna like learn more, but we're redoing our bar of understanding, and we'll go, oh, we're lower than we even thought. The bar goes all the way up. I think I've got an understanding of like old school medieval European dragons, like Tolkien vibe, and the kind of stuff that they showed on art back in the day, where they were like just kind of didn't know what they were talking about, but they just kept drawing dragons differently. And then Asian Eastern dragons, I've got a pretty good grasp on, from Chinese ones to like Japanese to like the Korean ones that are slightly different than that. And then dragons are used in like different cartoons and comics now in the East, and they're utilized differently than they are in American stuff.
Like
and Western, then I know. Yeah, and so like dragons like are so different over there than here, so I feel like they're almost different vibes. And then there's Puff, the magic dragon, and I know him, and he's pretty cool. He's super chill.
He's super chill. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Dude. Very mellow.
Very mellow guy.
Yeah, mellow guy. Well, why don't we officially kick it off right here? And because if I ask you, Lauren, then the episode will just literally be yours, which it already is yours. But we want to ask you questions. We want to increase our knowledge. And I want to kind of understand this more on a literary scale. I want to understand more about it. And I want to geek out about something that I know is objectively cool. So, yeah, I'm not going to ask any super specific questions. But where would you start, when it comes to discussing dragons? Where do you want to take us?
Yeah, famous line, start at the beginning, and when you get to the end, stop.
Yeah, and then we'll be like, well, that was our time. That was awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, so I think I'll just kick off kind of starting. So the first like written down mentions of dragon-like creatures are actually between like 1900 and 1500 BC. So these guys are they might not be like dragons in the way that we think of them now with like the the four legs and the wings and breathing fire, but the concept of a chaos monster that comes out of either the sea or the land to like wreak havoc on a civilized area is very, very old. And typically you see it starts out in the ocean, and you see it in Hindu and Babylonian mythology. And so you start to see like the typical story goes that there is a storm god who fights the chaos monster in the sea, and it's a pretty huge battle. It's tough. And then when the storm god wins, he comes to the land. Sometimes he brings and devours the carcass of the sea monster. And then he is benevolent to the people. And when you think about this, you think about like the way that, the one thing that I always want to say when we're talking about ancient and medieval people is they're not primitive and they're not stupid. We have a post-Enlightenment view of the world. And so we have this understanding that like we basically know everything that there's important to know. And so you look back at people who might not know that there's no such thing as a sea monster as we would term it. I mean, there's some pretty crazy things in the ocean that I would term monsters, but there's just not, just because you can't like put it on a chart doesn't mean that it's that they're dumb.
Yeah,
so
like if you saw a whale jump, like, and you had no way to know that, oh, that's just a whale. I saw a video on
whale.
You would freaking lose your mind if you saw a giant whale.
And all you have is a pointy stick to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Or a giant squid.
I was about to say, or heaven forbid, a freaking tentacle comes out of the water, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to lose it.
Absolutely. So I think that dragons are really an interesting way of looking at how humans understand storytelling. Because when I was talking to Joe about this yesterday, I was like, okay, if you were
Joe is our brother, and
yes. He is great.
To this day, I can still beat him in a fight. So just so you know, for sure, he has very poor mobility. Very poor mobility and zero knowledge.
That's true. He can't move his body.
He is much bigger than me now. He's getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, he's a dragon. He's becoming a dragon. So you're talking to Joe.
So I'm talking to Joe, and like the number one question that he said was, "Were dragons real?" And so
if it's a story that pops up all the time, that was going to be my follow-up question. Was like, okay, ancient people did understand metaphor. Right. And so like the second you said chaos monster is that was the term, right? Was it chaos monster?
A chaos monster.
And how that like there's a repetitive theme of the chaos monster wrecking civilization. I'm like, dude, that's first of all, if any story that if it's kind of ubiquitous, it's like you have to look at it and say, what is this? Is this speaking to the human condition? Or number one, were there freaking dragons? Number two, is it speaking to the human condition? And all these different people are using this thing to represent a devastating force. And I think both are possible, but I'm really interested in your take on that.
So I wanted to talk about the concept of a myth. So when you define the word myth, either of you give me a definition of what we would think of a myth of now.
I guess my quick answer would be a legendary story from a cultural perspective that holds little historical information backing it up.
I would go with that. Too. I would have said it way longer than you though, Mark, and it would have been much less clear.
Beautiful, very succinct. But there's there's the implication that it's fake, right? Like that it doesn't hold any historical value or validity. But if you're looking at it from an academic perspective, a myth is a traditional sacred narrative that explains the origin, purpose, and fundamental structures of the physical and social world. So in that sense, okay, is it a myth? Like, is it a myth? It doesn't really matter because it still holds truth. it still has value
even if it's metaphorical.
In the communication of truth, even if it's not tied to like a specific historical setting. So like the easiest, like most concrete way that I can think of explaining this, which I'm gonna throw Sam under the bus a little bit. You studied art history for a second, right? Like you took a class
in the loosest term of the word. I passed my class.
Did you do any sacred art?
Yeah, it was all like altarpieces in all the church, old churches.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool.
Do you remember what color Mary always wears?
I do not.
Is it blue?
Okay.
I made that up. I think I saw it in some art before. You guys got to never
have seen some art.
You guys seen
like
some
and subscribe.
Art.
Like and subscribe.
Where's the button? I get it. I don't know where it is.
Find it.
There it is.
Like and subscribe. Like, I don't know why I said it there. I've been wanting to spring that on Mark just to see him have to scramble for the button. I don't know why it's your job. I have access to, but I've never pulled it up. I have no idea where it is.
I don't know why. It's locked in now. I'm just like, you're right. I gotta find
it. Oh my God.
So blue.
So Mary always wears blue. Okay. So the reason for that is not that the woman who lived in first century, Nazareth in the desert, who was poor, had access to blue fibers and always wore blue. So what are we doing? Why do we always have Mary in blue?
There's meaning there. There's truth there. Yeah.
In the Old Testament, with the Ark of the Covenant, it was in the Holy of Holies, and the veil to the Holy of Holies was blue. So what we're saying is, like, the Ark was a physical vessel that held the power of God, and it was covered in blue. And
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Shout out to the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Don't open that thing unless you're ready, bro. Close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
You're not ready.
You're not ready, bro. And if you're a Nazi, you definitely don't need to open it, bro.
Don't get ready for some melting faces.
You'll turn into Jello, bro.
So then Mary is a physical vessel who held the power of God in her body, and so she's always draped in blue, and that's a representation. So did Mary always wear blue? No. But is Mary wearing blue true? Yes. So do you see, like, so we're holding that tension.
There's an artistic truth, and I would just add, this is sometimes this is why story is so powerful, and this is why some of these literary devices are so powerful, because you almost get the truth, the concept and the truth across to the human soul more through an inaccurate fact, because it's not about what she was wearing. I'm trying to communicate something to you,
right?
And
I'm showing you something much deeper.
It hits home more through an artistic vehicle,
Right.
But there's also some consistency and truth in it too, because it's like saying Sam's always drinking coffee, and then someone meets Sam 5 times and they're like, I never see him drinking coffee, and I'm like, but he's not literally always drinking coffee,
right?
But he's always drinking coffee.
We know what that means in the colloquial sense,
right?
So similarly with dragons, I think of it also as a parent, where like you have this thing that is beautiful and precious to you, and once they're out, for a woman, once they're outside your body, you're so aware of all of the craziness that is in the world, and the idea that there are snakes everywhere, not literal necessarily, but like that a little 2-year-old, God knows my son, could just dart out anywhere at any moment, and you're just like, oh,
he's
my
a darter.
God.
That one's a darter.
The stories, you guys. Anyway, so we did buy a child leash. We haven't used it, but we haven't.
I hope you don't have to use it. It's so emasculate. I knew a guy who was
he'll
like,
be alive.
Yeah, he'll be alive. You're like, why are you putting him on a leash? I'm judging you so much. And then you
at me.
You live like an hour with him, and you're like, oh yeah.
I get it.
My goodness.
So yeah. So is the myth of the dragon true? I would say very much so, yes. Were there literal physical monsters who could breathe fire? I think that Tolkien thought there was, personally.
That's cool.
But they but I don't know. I don't want to rule it out, because there's this beautiful part of medieval history. You can just kind of go, I mean, maybe though. Like, sure.
Not everything's written down.
Right.
How interesting that even in those times though, people are like, somebody went out there being like, yeah, there's a story that there's a dragon up in that mountain. And somebody grabbed their sword and went, and that's the reason
Let's go.
my town got broken 50 years ago. That's what grandma says. And they just went, I'm taking care of it. And I don't know what happened to them. Could be a dragon up there. Could be they slipped and fell because they went climbing a mountain in full plate mail. You know, like about to move. No.
Died of heat exhaustion.
Died of
Right.
heat
Literally
exhaustion.
got cooked inside of his.
Yeah. Somebody found him
It
later and
doesn't
said,
happen.
they're burning, they burned in there. And you're like, well, yeah, you can't wear full plate armor or
That's
climb
the
a
sun,
mountain
though.
in summer. Yeah, that's
It's
just
real
that's
heavy.
summertime. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Arizona.
So you do have dragon stories. They're ubiquitous across the world. The Chinese dragon, Mark, you can speak to this more. I didn't do a ton on that because there was just so much on the Western side, and that was already kind of where my specialty lies. But the Chinese dragon is much more benevolent. I don't think they have wings. Is that correct?
No, they're
Yeah.
much more serpent-like, and they fly through general magic or something like that. Like
Right.
they just
It's not
or
like
they
a physical.
yeah, it's not like a physical movement of a bird. It's more of like a slithering through the sky, majestic, like catching the currents and stuff. You know,
Breath of the Wild, baby. Legend
Breath
of
of the
Zelda,
Wild.
baby.
Zelda knows what's up.
That's what's up. They
So
just
the
be
next-
floating up there, bro.
Just be floating.
The next big literary reference of dragons is the Bible. So we open up with, so there are 3 words that can be translated as dragon or chaos monster in the Bible. So we get, well, in Hebrew, those are Tanin, Leviathan, and the Nahash.
I was going to ask you about Leviathan. I was going to be like, it sounds like his like same thing in the Bible.
So the Nahash is the one in Genesis 3 who is talking to Eve, who then has to crawl on his belly. And then we also
he's serpent, but that could potentially,
right.
be
And then
all of
he
these
went
are
to
separate
China.
words. Obviously, yeah. The one that doesn't have wings went to China.
But if he didn't have wings, yeah. A god, an eternal creature, like kind of like a, going again. It's like connected to the gods or whatever. Interesting,
right? And then we get a lot throughout. You see the Leviathan referenced in Job. There's creatures in Daniel. So like Daniel starts out and like the first seven chapters are just like kind of historical, like, hey, here's what happened. And then in chapter 7, everything like goes off the deep end and goes full on into like these metaphorical dream states where he sees all of these monsters. And one of them is a dragon, and they are very notably all coming up out of the sea. And so
and that's prophetic imagery there. It's like hardcore prophetic imagery. And with interpretation, it's so specific that a lot of people say that it's impossible that that it was written at the time of Daniel. Like it's had to have been written later, hundreds of years later, because they all represent different kingdoms. And I think the dragon is the Roman Empire, right? So like, which again, chaos monster, this force that comes in and destroys everything. Like that is that's almost like a spiritual representation. And for Daniel, it's not even purely just metaphorical. Like everything, it is a spiritual reality behind, like it's like the spiritual soul behind like an entire empire, the spiritual representation of an empire.
Right.
And Rome is this freaking monster with horns all over. And if you look at the meanings of everything, how it tramples everything and destroys everything. And even the way that Rome took over the world, the dragon is like a perfect representation for that, and a better representation than any other creature that you could think of. So, people always have trouble with it. They like when they try to draw it from Daniel, they draw. Sorry, I did a deep dive on Daniel a little while ago. They draw like a triceratops. They draw like they can't figure out the monster, and the best fit is a dragon-like kind of creature. Yeah, interesting.
That's cool.
And then we wrap up the Bible in Revelation. There are dragons, lots of dragons. My favorite is the one where he's waiting to get the baby out. So Mary's about to give birth to Jesus. I mean, these are the metaphors. They say a woman is about to give birth, and the dragon is waiting to devour the baby, and then he, of course, does not win. And the thing that I was listening to, they were very specific that I really appreciated, is like in your earlier myths, you have like the dragon and the storm god really had to duke it out. It's a rivalry in which one could win or the other could win. And while the dragon is the enemy of God, he is not a rival to God. So there's a bunch of different places where, like, sometimes there's the one where the Leviathan, he's like, and then he made the Leviathan to play. Like, just, I'm not worried about this at all. Like, so there's this very different vibe when there's a dragon in the Bible. It is something that is fairly consistently, I mean, it's a chaos monster. So it does so chaos, but it's not as though God is like, oh no, like, you know, at the end of Revelation, it's just like, and no. And then that's the end. So
yeah, but it's still like citywide wreckage, like Godzilla like wreckage.
Yeah.
You know, so like as a person, if again, you know, at least from some of these ancient texts, it's like I hear babies.
Sorry,
I hear
my chaos monster just busted in the room.
The cutest chaos monster ever, and we're gonna put a timestamp there, like cute little guy. Hear a cute voice here. But
thank you, my love.
But the dragon is no match for God. But again, this is not just like chaos. Like, oh man, you know, that's nuts. It's storming really hard. It's like city wrecking chaos, and yet it feels like, you know, a person can battle this creature if the person has been like blessed by God or empowered by God. It's like God's like, take care of my light work. And it's not light work. I mean, it's a city wrecking thing, but it's like, hey, you know, I'm going to ask you to go kill this thing, get your sword and go do it. And that happens a lot.
Isn't it kind of like levels to it though? Like in the conversation there'd be like, oh, I just had my chaos monster come in. So like an ant might look at my chaos monster. He's a great guy. He's not a chaos monster.
He's the best.
He is a chaos monster, but he is
in the best way possible.
Yeah, in the best way possible. Yeah. But an ant might look at him and be like, this is crazy. Or a small puppy might be like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And I'm like, he might be trying to hit me. It's not really a fight. You know, I'm not bothered. Good luck, puppy. Yeah. You know, so.
Yeah. There's also an element in various verses where there's the potential that humans can be part of the chaos. So they can be on the side of the chaos monster as opposed to God's side. So that works in the metaphors as well. But Sam, you hit on a point that'll kind of move us into medieval dragons.
I was going to ask, I saw you go, ooh, and I was like, oh, I said something smart. I wonder what it was that I said.
Yeah.
So have either of you heard of St. George and the Dragon?
I have heard of it. It's really ringing a bell. I can't draw it. I can't figure out exactly what it was though.
I've heard of George and the Giant Peach. So maybe not the same George. It may be a different George.
Is it George or Jack? Is it Jack?
No, Jack has a beanstalk. Oh, James. What does George have? George has a dragon and James has a beanstalk. No, James has a peach. This is not fair. It's not fair to Jack and James.
British names are so hard.
British names all sound the same.
Well, I mean, if we get into like your, you know, George R.R. Martin with names sounding the same, he's, you know, anyway. So St. George is the patron saint of England, even still. If you watched the World Cup at all and you saw these guys dressed as knights with the cross, that is St. George. And so we're like, he's still fairly like known. He comes around. And so very likely St. George was a real person who died in the persecution under Diocletian in the 3rd century. But over time, you get the addition of kind of the medieval story of St. George and the Dragon, which if you have watched Bluey, you have heard.
I have seen Bluey. All Bluey, but now so many times.
You will. Trust me,
it's coming for you.
I'm getting there.
And it's actually quite delightful. So, you know, there are definitely worse things out there.
It's pretty great.
So they tell the story in one of their little episodes. There's a dragon that is terrorizing a kingdom. They have to take lots, and every time your lot comes up, you have to give one of your children to the dragon. Finally, the lot, I know. Yeah.
I've heard this story, something like this.
The lot lands on the king's daughter, and just when that happens, this brave knight comes up, and he is able to subdue the dragon. Often he does not even kill it. He just, like, you know, just sometimes he shows it a crucifix. Sometimes he, kind of reminiscent of the vampire stuff for us. We're just like, ugh, and then
garlic feeds it some garlic.
He feeds it garlic, one of those things. But
just gets full though. He's just like, I'm not.
So sometimes he does kill it, and then he saves the kingdom. And so the Catholic Church went through a period of time where they're kind of trying to shore up all of their saint stories to make sure that they were accurate. And kind of
guys, we got to get on the same page here. Like, I mean, come on, dragons.
And they tried.
Was it garlic that he used, or did he kill it?
We can't tell. So they try to kind of belittle the story of St. George, and it just won't go away. It's too popular. Everybody loves it. And so there's a Bluey episode because Australia is a UK
English colony.
Yeah, English colony. And so Rusty, who is the best categorically in Bluey,
he's great.
He's
like noble.
George.
He's a noble soul.
He's so because he's St. George in the little.
Which one's Rusty? Is Rusty the little Bluey's Bluey?
He's like a side character. He's like a tertiary character, but he's
the best.
Screen, bro. When he's on the screen,
really?
You just have to look at Rusty.
He's just that kid that's just cool, and you're like, you got it. You're gonna be okay.
He becomes like a pro ball player later on, and that episode,
he plays cricket.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Oh, go ahead, Rusty.
Anyway. Get it, Rusty. So, Rusty is playing St. George and the Dragon in that episode. And then, so the funny thing about St. George, so then, England is, Catholic for a long time. And then the Protestant Reformation happens, Henry VIII, we get through a bunch of other people, then we get to Elizabeth I. And under Elizabeth I, we get Edmund Spenser, who writes The Fairy Queen, in which a knight who is probably not explicitly stated to be St. George, but is St. George, is commissioned to care for this woman who represents the Anglican Church or the Church of England, and he has to slay a dragon. And in that version, the dragon is the Catholic Church.
Oh my!
So England basically appropriated St. George into the Church of England because he was just so stinking popular, and the legend of this guy just won't go away. So it's just this really, really pervasive tale that continues into even now. You see people at soccer matches wearing St. George gear.
Well, you see them also using the concept. So again, I think as a writer, I think it's always important to try to figure out the concept behind something and see how you can understand it and then apply it. And you see them doing that. They're like, let's take this chaos monster thing and let's just put that on our enemies, the Catholic Church. We don't like them.
Actually, they're the bad guys.
Yeah, they're like, we don't like them. They're a chaos monster. And then all the power of that metaphor gets put on somebody, which is, which is kind of a crazy technique. I see what you did there. That was dirty.
I think that, so then we, concurrent with the St. George myth, we also have Beowulf.
I was going to ask,
remember Beowulf fighting Grendel, who is not a dragon.
I remember that, and I thought it was a dragon. I was like, yeah, doesn't he fight? Isn't Grendel a dragon guy, or is he just like a really creepy guy? And you were like, yeah, he's not a dragon, bro.
He's like a demon something or other. They don't really specify. So he's a demon that crawls about. I mean, he is a chaos monster for what that's worth. He still falls under that umbrella.
Dragon umbrella.
But, right. He's under the dragon umbrella.
He's creepy, bro.
Yeah.
He is really. And then I forgot, because it's been so long. I read it in college forever ago. But I forgot that Beowulf kills Grendel by just ripping his arm off with his bare hand. Oh, and then he runs away and bleeds out.
I like that because that's a realistic death scene. Because if your arm gets ripped off, you're gonna bleed out. Sorry. So all you do is that ran away and you survived. That's a load of crap. You didn't survive. You're dead. No.
With I'm just getting visions of Monty Python.
Yeah.
Tis but a flesh wound.
I was thinking lightsabers. I was like, well, if it cauterizes because of lightsaber, then you're fine. Me and Mark have done a deep dive on that, and it was not a deep dive. It was just us just thinking about it. We're like, I think you'd live. I don't know, but
Darth Maul definitely dead.
Shout out to true.
7 times.
So sad.
So much.
Shout out to Seamus Heaney. Rest in peace. You're the man. He's my favorite poet of all time. Incredible poet.
So
But he
good.
did a version of Beowulf that apparently is like the absolute, just like pinnacle. So incredible.
It's so good. And like I feel bad for anyone who reads it in any other version because he uses the same, like you get the vibe of how people would have talked. So he uses like he's got these two guys talking and one guy challenges the other guy because it's actually Beowulf coming in because Beowulf isn't from this area. He comes from afar because they've heard that they have trouble and he's a brave knight and blah blah blah. So
The Witcher. Henry Cavill
Yeah.
comes in.
There's nothing new. So then the guy challenges him, "Who are you?" And like instead of saying "and then he spoke," they say "and then he opened his word hoard." Like because that's the way that Old English is formed. It's very Germanic, so you just
Hoard.
mush a lot of words
With an E at the
together.
end. Vitamin
Right.
shoppy.
Your word hoard.
Words
So,
a hoard day.
My interaction with Beowulf was what was it, like a 2003 Colin Farrell,
the movie?
Angelina Jolie movie?
Yeah, with Angelina Jolie. Yeah.
where
I remember.
he killed Grundle by slamming the door on his arm over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm only getting this memory while you were talking. I was like, yeah, wasn't he just like yelling at me like,
Wait, what was that?
It was like a weird 3D.
It was super weird. And then at the
super
end,
weird.
I immediately forgot it. I was just like, what did we see? Like,
I
what-
walked
I
out of it
didn't
being like,
bother.
I was like, I'm 14. Was I on drugs? What did I watch? It
Did
felt so
someone
like,
give me something?
Yeah, it was
yeah, I was
really
like, it
weird.
was so disjointed, but like, I
It's
did
such a
remember
strange- yeah.
him slamming the door and the arm falling off. And I
Not
was
how
like,
he,
that's
he
the fight?
literally like they're grappling.
That's
And
the
then
fight?
Beowulf just like, yeah, there's no door. Beowulf
Why would
straight
you?
up.
Why would you make the scene so much worse?
Did
It's
you
so dumb
downgrade
now.
it?
It's a
Yeah.
movie. You want it to be cool.
I was sold on like that, if I've seen Superman, so if somebody rips someone's arm off, I'm
Yeah.
like, I've seen other movies, like and I'm giving it to you. He got
Right.
the arm.
That was the
Not gonna fight
director.
you.
He was like, I mean, this arm rip off thing has been overdone. Like, let's just shut his arm in the door.
Just not believable. But this guy's made of like snakes and demon body parts, and then Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie's like a smoke demon. I don't really remember what she did actually.
She's
but I know
Grendel's
she was in it.
mom, and in the book, the story, she dies because Beowulf goes like diving into the caves where she is, and he
Mhm.
has a sword that is named, which I thought was great. That's very, Tolkien definitely is borrowing from
reminds
this
me-
tradition.
Shout out to Mark. Some of the shorts that he's been making. He talks about like just fantasy weapons and just like
Oh.
like so
And
having
of
that
course,
named
weapons in
sword
the
that's
world,
got the
yeah.
battle damage on
Oh
it.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So-
fun. Thanks, guys.
He goes diving with this sword, and then the sword immediately breaks. Like it has no power.
It's that
Actually-
okay. So it's that Legend of Zelda. You can like get this awesome sword, but if you don't get it made right, it immediately breaks. So you're like
Yeah.
so happy. It's like $10,000. You finally get it. And I was like, yeah, I got the sword. No! Just immediately breaks.
You have to do the only thing I remember from Zelda is him playing that little.
The ocarina.
Yeah, my mom would be like, "What are you doing? Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen." We're like, "You don't understand, mom."
Oh wait! This is the Nintendo 64 time when
Yeah,
you
the
had the like
64
yellow
Legend of
D-pad
Zelda.
things. You
Yeah.
had to press those.
And you play do 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 do, or it wouldn't like work, and so I'd be do 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 do.
And I would
You get
watch him
mad.
do this and be like,
What do you guys do?
"What is this?" It's so cool.
We probably could talk about Legend of Zelda a little bit in this, but okay. So his sword immediately breaks.
So
and
his
what
sword
happens?
immediately breaks, and then he just happens to find like another really dope sword that happens to be there, and then that's when he kills. Which actually brings me into I found another I don't know. Did I tell you guys about my like weird obsession with Russian fairy tales and how crazy they are?
Not I, but I want to
They're
hear about it.
No, but
They're
that's a lot of
insane.
people. I mean, supernatural,
They're
right? Like it's a whole
Super
thing,
crazy.
a whole vibe.
And so one of them, so they do have dragon legends in Russia, and one of them is called The Tale of the Brinya and the Dragon. And the thing about like fairy tales in general, but particularly Russian fairy tales, is that like they lean into the fact that you have no control over your life, and the reality that things could turn on a dime at any point. If you think things are going well, things could turn on a dime. If you think things are going badly, things could turn on a dime. And so like with Grendel's mother in particular, you see this where like oh, look, Beowulf, he's already killed one guy. He's got this. He's just going to go take care of the mom. It's a lady. It'll be fine. And then like he's got this dope sword. Oh, wait. The sword is gone. But, there's this other sword over here. So it's not necessarily that Beowulf is like superior necessarily, even though he probably is. It's that he's just willing to do the work and then things happen. And it's just so he kills Grendel's mother. And then he's kind of an older guy. Time passes and they say like 50 summers or something go by. And then there's a dragon that is terrorizing his area. And so he has to go out and fight the dragon, and he kills the dragon, but dies of his wounds. And he has this like group of people who are supposed to help him, and they all ran away. And so there's one guy that went out and helped him. And then the whole tale ends with him just like verbally lighting them up for being like, yeah, well, Beowulf didn't have any reason to be prideful of his helpers, did he? you guys suck. And
that's how it ends. The end.
I love it.
Roll credits.
Like, got a bunch of the credits are just
so
rolling.
That's
like my favorite movie pull out. Yeah, he's cussing out these people, and the camera's slowly pulling away into the sky, and
Beowulf's body's just like in the side of the shot. He's dead.
12 feet. And
he's like roasted. He's like roasted. A 70-year-old man roasted.
Basically,
from the dragon's.
So yeah,
the end.
That's it. The end.
So what would you take away from the Beowulf story as far like what does that do for the concept of dragons from a literary standpoint?
I think it shows how pervasive they are. This is in England in like we see it written down around 1000 AD, but like anything that's written down has been around for a long time because you don't just, it's not like we can order paper on Amazon. Like you writing things down means they're very important. And so that legend had been around for a long time. And so seeing like the continuation of the concept of these monsters, these things that come from without that sow chaos into our world, is just kind of it's just the fact that we've got this in Greece, we've got this in Rome, we've got this in England. And I think the fact that you have a coherent written down story at that time is also just unusual. We don't have a bunch of stuff from England then. And so that they have this is really it's just cool, honestly. And it tells you a lot about what the culture was like. Things like, everything takes place in a mead hall. So the importance of a hall and the place where everyone is gathering together for safety. And the fact that something could come in and just take 30 guys out. Because like, if you think about, especially at this time, disease in particular, like there's an ongoing theme in any historical thing where it's like, and this is yet another place where a trip to CVS could have changed the course of history. Where like, if only we had had a single antibiotic, this would have been a totally different story. Yeah. And so, anytime you have a large group of people together, there's the potential for disease, for destruction. Disease transmission. And so I think, Grendel coming in and wiping out 30 guys and them just kind of being powerless to do anything about it. It is that continual, I put in here the collective memory of a time where mankind was not an apex predator. And also when disease could just wipe out, if you think about the Black Plague, a third to a half of the entire population of Europe is just gone.
That's a dragon. And the only thing you can think of is a city wrecking force.
Right.
And you said something very interesting. Well, you said a lot of interesting things, but one thing you said was, when human beings weren't an apex predator, and I think that like that stands out. It also makes me go like, there's a wisdom to time displace a person from back then when you weren't an when we weren't apex predators and bring them here, and they would be impressed with stuff, and they would see the folly of us being like, you're just in a metal suit. Like you're going out there, you're just in a submarine. You're not an apex predator. Right. You think you are.
Right.
And take us back then, and we would go with hubris of being like, I'll show him. You're like, that's not going to stop him. I mean, it's going to stop me.
Right.
But it's not going to stop him.
Like, then you shoot the dragon. He's like, he does a slow turn. You're like, oh no.
Oh no.
No. It didn't work. I don't have any more bullets.
This brings us into another point this is what I was starting to tell you about, Sam. So in the 1970s, we're taking a big leap here.
I was going to ask, because it's
in the 1970s is the first time that we see the concept of a dragon rider, someone who, so we see, you know,
Ah.
all, and so this in my brain just so encapsulates modern and postmodern thought of like,
Mm,
oh, you think that you can control the chaos monster. Like you think
Mm.
like we're better than this now. We're not afraid of the chaos monster anymore. I am the chaos monster. Like
Ooh.
this whole next level in which, you know, all of a sudden,
mm.
you know, How to Train Your Dragon, Aragon, Game of Thrones, I mean, you can list like, I don't know how many in the last 20, 30 years where all,
Like
I mean,
Pern and all that stuff.
Yeah,
yes,
Dragon
there's
Riders of Pern.
so
Yeah.
many
Mhm.
in which, you know, there, all of a sudden we're not afraid of, and also the 1970s is when we see the turning point with vampires as well. I don't know what they were doing in the 70s,
I was
but
about
like,
to say in our last
Mm.
talk, you had a little bit of a similar thing when like it hit to a certain point, and we were like, well, no longer is it a horror movie. Now it's turned into, you know, kind of a little bit of a postmodern romance kind of conversation, or a
right
power
now it's
fantasy
just
kind of thing.
right. And
Mm.
I think that you lose so much when you take away the power of these symbols. And I do think it's appropriate, and it makes sense in our time that this is the way we think of it, because we do think that we understand everything, that we've got everything under control, that, you know, we're not afraid of, you know, getting wiped out by a disease. We should be, look back to 2020. And
Hmm.
so there's like, but you're not like, it's not a normal thing that children regularly die before the age of 5 because there's
Mm.
just all of these childhood diseases that they could get. It's not a normal thing for somebody to get an earache and that like just basically go into sepsis and then they die. Like that's
Yeah.
not something that we see on the regular. And so because of that, we're just not afraid of all of these. We think that we are now the apex predator when really no, we're not.
I think
But
that's the story
it's just
right there too.
arrogance.
Like, you know, is that's the story right there. And an interesting thing is, it'd be interesting to take, and this is a go take the vampires too, take all of these things, you put them
Mhm.
in there, and you just say like, living now, to see a world where we're living in a place where we feel that confident and we feel that powerful and we feel like the apex predator, but the reality would still be that you're riding a dragon, you know, and that dragon, you feel like you're in control, but you are at the mercy of that dragon or
Mhm.
whatever thing is controlling that dragon to keep it not from eating you, whether that is
Right.
your bond, or whether it is
Mm.
a control
Mm.
rod or a magical thing, whatever it is, right? And that's the
Right.
same with the vampires. You'd say we went from, you know, B- Bella would be like, I'm so safe with these guys. I'm like, you would live in the wild world. But anyway, you've got a werewolf and a vampire, and they both want you. And your only safety actually is you better pick one of them because you're not
Right.
picking none of them.
Yeah.
Right.
let me tell
You've
you
Yeah.
got
let me tell you the
to
option you don't have that you're not thinking about, right? Like,
Yeah.
at 17.
And it
yeah,
is.
at
I
17.
I think that yeah. Understanding what it's supposed to mean and the power behind the you know the myth, right? I
Right.
think allows you to handle it better. And then if you want to make the choice where, you know, you ride the dragon or whatever, like that's cool. But I think you're going to do better if you handle there's more layers of conflict if you handle the myth appropriately, and you if you appropriate the myth and you understand what it actually means, versus if you're just writing and you have no concept of any of it. It's a cool little monster, it's a cool little ride, it loses power. And really that's what I think this we don't have to transition to this next part yet, but there's a lot of stories where dragons are handled.
Poorly.
Yes,
Poorly.
and where dragons are handled, and it's just like there's no like all of the mythos is lost, and now it's just
Right.
a cute little, it's just a character in your book. And I don't that bothers some people. That bothers me. That bothers me. So
Yeah.
Fourth Wing, what were you going to say about that? You actually read Fourth Wing.
So I read it
Thank
because
you.
someone recommended it to me. I
Thank
did
you.
not read
Good
it for
job.
this. I had read it a couple of
Good
years
job.
ago, and I made it through. I think if I were to go through it today, I probably would have. What is it? DNF'd. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have DNF'd it now.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you know, someone who recommended it to me.
I mean, it's really
And
popular, but
it is. It's really, really popular. I had to go back through. I like found a summary of it because I didn't really remember, and then I like was like, oh yeah, this does suck. But I mean, honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because there's more fun things to talk about. But Fourth Wing is basically if you took like Twilight and Divergent and then added dragons.
Okay.
Can you just
That's
speak
pretty
to the
much.
dragons in that? Because I've heard it that they're kind of colloquial, and me and Mark actually have
Yeah.
a fun story pitch
We do.
that we're gonna put together about colloquial dragons.
So
But
I
yeah,
do think so. To kind of zoom out a little bit in The Hobbit in J.R.R. Tolkien, which we didn't cover because I kind of fast forwarded because it was
Yeah.
a good point to make about modern dragon riders. But Tolkien, Smaug is not as sinister in The Hobbit as he is in the. I don't even want to call the Hobbit movies the same thing because they're not.
Yeah, no.
They're a travesty, but Benedict Cumberbatch is an excellent voice actor who is absolutely the right choice. But Smaug is much more conversive and not as like, you know, he's so it's interesting that
I think
Tolkien,
I remember that. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting. So I don't mind a dragon being kind of, you know, they're very clever in a late modern version. Before we get dragon riders, we do have a period of time where they are hoarding gold very often, and dragons tend to be like kind of a almost like you can become a dragon for being greedy. Like there's a level of like selfishness and evil that you can as a human become a dragon, and
you
that's a
become very
punishment.
powerful and you can control it, but you also suck. So
But
it's just
right.
like, you're also the worst.
You're also
He's the
terrible,
worst.
and everyone
Don't fight him.
and people are trying to
But
kill
he's the
you.
worst.
So
He has all the gold.
so so there's like, okay, we have this tradition of dragons being kind of more conversive, colloquial. The thing about the dragons in Fourth Wing is that they are essentially like, she says that they're like these, you know, that they have their own civilization and all of this, but she doesn't get into it very much and I don't remember her explaining it super well. And so she kind of gives you enough of a cursory explanation to move forward with the plot with the girl, but like it's really like the word that comes to my mind for that book is just contrived. Like the whole thing is like she wants the boy and the girl to get together, and so she like creates circumstances where like his dragon and her dragon are together, so now they've got to be together even though they hate each other, but secretly he loves her. And like just this is probably a good opportunity for me to say I do not read any kind of romance. It's just not my thing. I'm not trying to, you know, judge anybody who likes it. It's just not for me. And so
you would read a
like,
romance that didn't feel like it was contrived, like if it felt more natural, because the things that really kind of get on your nerves are more of the, you know, some of the tropey things that maybe if you read in that genre and that's your expectation, you love that, then you're gonna love it. That's fine. But like you like the authenticity and the historical accuracy and you want it to happen more naturally.
I want it to be like, I don't mind there
Earned.
being romantic elements. Like if someone has a romance interest and it makes sense within the plot, then I'm totally like, I'm not going to turn off because of that. But I don't want to spend a ton of time with it. And that's just not my thing. And so, yeah, very, very tropey. She's the new girl. He's the guy that's a bad boy. And, you know, they end up having to work together. And, you know, it's just, and then she has tons of power, even though in real life she's actually very weak. And so why she's suddenly like super good at being a dragon rider, we don't know. It's just, yeah.
I feel like it would be kind of hard, you know. I mean, riding horses is kind of hard, you know. So like,
it requires skill.
And horses don't go upside
down. And she's got some kind of weird thing where her joints just like pop out all the time. Like
that seems unfortunate when riding a dragon.
So anyway, yeah, that wasn't my
interesting
thing. But if you want to, I know, Mark, have you watched or read Game of Thrones?
Yes, I read all the Game of Thrones books except for the last one. I was waiting. I made a rule. This was before the show came out. I read them all like in 2 weeks, and I got to the last book, and I was like, I'll read this book when he releases the next book. Anyway, so I've not read that book yet because he's not released the next book.
I didn't know you read all of them, dude. That's awesome.
I did not know you read. Wow, that's impressive.
It was basically like us with Dungeon Crawler Carl. You just started reading one, and then it just like
you just can't stop.
Yeah, and
I have to find out.
It becomes a problem.
And I was and I was traveling a lot at the time, so I was just like, stuck in airports. I think I read Storm of Swords, which is like massive, in like one day because I was stuck in Philadelphia for like 16 hours, and my flight just kept getting pushed. So I was just there being like, well, I guess I'll start my book. And then they're like, flight got changed to this thing. So I said, I'll walk over there. I'll sit down. They're like, oh, that got delayed. I said, no problem. And they're like, oh, it's going to be 2 hours from now. I said, no problem. And then by the time I
That's fine
finished,
with me.
I was like I was like
You're
3
like, bro,
chapters
I
away.
finished the book, bro. Like,
Yeah,
come on,
I was
man.
like, I gotta
Like a
go home,
tome,
please.
too. It's like a
Please
big.
go
Yeah,
home.
it was a beast. I was like,
Good
what's happening?
grief. Well, thank you, George R. R. Martin, for helping Mark keep his
We
sanity.
appreciate you.
Appreciate that, George. Thanks.
So we could go into a bunch of stuff, and you can correct me on this. So I'll start out with my impression. And this is based on the show. I did read one of the books, but I just didn't get in past that. But I think that Martin really does a decent job of kind of marrying the concept of the dragon as a chaos monster with the modern dragon rider idea. And in that, like at the very end, spoiler alert, if you haven't heard everybody on the planet complain about the last season of Game of Thrones, Daenerys becomes evil and then ends up using the dragon to just scorch
Chaos monster.
And at the very end of the show, the monster flies away alone and is just kind of out there now. And so I now you can say whatever you want about how they did it, whether you think that that's appropriate for the story, blah, 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 blah. But as far as the use of the dragons, him using them as chaos monsters that are just barely tethered to Daenerys specifically is really, I mean, I like that portion of it very much.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good, I think, especially in this conversation, it's a fantastic way of keeping these dragons dangerous and destructive, and putting them in a place where now it's the old feelings that we talked about, historical, where you're like, you don't have control, and then there's the new feelings of being like, we live in a suit of armor, we're in a suburb, we have control, and all of that can be true and false at the same time. I think he does a great job walking that line, and I think that the show at the end was rushed, but I feel like if that was stretched out over 2 seasons or 3 seasons, you would have probably all changed your mind about it and been like, this makes sense. And I'm sad that my character,
so we could see.
Right? Yeah. Would have been good to do the last season.
Seeing the battle would have been great.
Would have been so good. It sounded amazing. It sounded so good.
And it sounded the sound design.
Sound design.
I was really cheering for everybody that had a torch or threw fire anywhere, because I was like, I could see for a moment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Burn everything. Burn everything.
Yeah. Get up.
Right.
I just want to toss in that there's something to be said for how you handle theme there, because Lauren, you see the theme, and you knew the theme, and you were looking for the kind of the overall theme of like, look, dragons represent chaos. And it's when you're coming at it from a thematic perspective, it makes a lot of sense that she would turn evil, and that she would use that overwhelming power for the wrong reasons. And then
even that chaotic force takes her over.
Correct.
Like she thinks she controls the dragon, but in the end, she's consumed by the chaos that she creates.
Correct,
because there's always going to be that temptation to push the button if you have the weapon.
And she did it all the time too.
Yep,
that's the thing. Even when the dragons were small, we cheered for her because it was a bunch of slavers in the earlier seasons.
It was cool when it was the bad guys.
That's the thing is,
the more you use it, but that's good theme work. And honestly, that's Lord of the Rings. Like the more you use the ring, eventually it's gonna freaking mess with you, and eventually you can't take it off anymore.
Or Carl's Ring of Divine Suffering.
Yeah, Carl's Ring of Divine Suffering, Mark. You haven't read it, but we're with you. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Yes. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe if you like Dungeon Crawler Carl. Algorithm. We just said Dungeon Crawler Carl. Algorithm.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. So the algorithm now tracks whatever you say. So if we just say Dungeon Crawler Carl enough times, it'll just push our videos. Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Game of Thrones.
But that's good theme work. And if they would have had time to make the greater audience see that, there's ways to do that. Bring the greater audience along. Then they would have been like, dang, it didn't end the way
for season 8 is where they're just he's like, you could have 10 episodes. No, we can't. We're just gonna cram it all in.
Yeah,
and that's really the problem. Because I believe that Daenerys would be taken over by the chaos. I believe that she would turn evil. All of that is
she was on the path.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just
You
kind
know
of
what?
shoved her instead of letting her go herself.
Yeah.
The same issue that you just talked about with Fourth Wing, or even your feelings about romance, and I kind of have the same feeling with anything where it's just like, if it's not earned, it doesn't feel right, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I could see, I accept the ending, but I could see it being earned. It just wasn't. You still have to take the
Right.
steps, you know, and that's the
I agree.
problem. And but other than that, like, it's in Dragon's Talk, it's a great showing of force and a great showing of utilization, and
Of that
you know,
particular, yeah.
And that's
yeah.
why it had to end that way,
Yeah.
because George R. R. Martin knows the themes that he's playing with. And then even the dragon flying off, like, dude, that is
But now the
great
chaos has been
thematic work.
released.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Mhm.
But you didn't take the time to bring everyone along. So they're just like, I liked that character, and that character, I thought they were a good guy. It's like, what the heck, dude? And they missed the theme
Yeah.
entirely because you didn't do it properly.
You didn't take us
Mhm.
with you. You got from A to B, but you just like teleported there instead of showing us the path.
And that's what made it great to begin
Mhm.
with. What you just said
And-
was like, it's marrying these concepts, these ancient concepts,
and it's structured on
making it
top
work.
of true history, which makes it even
Yeah,
better.
which is so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
War of the Roses,
Oh,
right?
War of the
man.
Roses.
Oh yeah, we could go. I'm not going to, but we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
I know you
So the
could.
last thing that I wanted to the last thing I wanted to talk about was like, okay, we have this concept of a chaos monster. If we move beyond the very specific, like 4 legs, wings, dragon, you know, with the fire breathing, if we talk about things that come in and just destroy everything, you know what popped into my brain first? And you guys, if you can think of other movies where this is the case, but I thought of Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Just bringing
kaijus?
chaos monsters in.
By
and
the way,
so
I
yeah,
freaking love that freaking movie. I own it. I
because
love it.
all men do.
I could watch it every day. I never get sick of it. It's the best thing ever. It's the best thing I've ever seen. I freaking love that movie.
Maybe that's why it came to my brain. I'm like, Sam's gonna love this. Monsters coming up out of the ocean and wreaking chaos, and then
you punch him in the
Storm God having to
face.
fight them, and then you get to punch
Yeah.
him in the face.
Hey,
It's so
Chaos
good.
Yeah.
Monster, what's up? I got a robot suit. Let's
They said,
Right.
go.
what if the
So-
Power Rangers only had the Megazord? And they said,
Yeah.
I love it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
So
'Cause
freaking good.
aren't they in there? They're like, we gotta. I'm just gonna change it to Power Rangers speak. They're gonna say, "Oh, a kaiju, we gotta beat them up. They're not taking our city." They look at the other person in there. They're like, and then they just get into like,
Yeah.
I love it. I like it too. I
freaking
watched
love
it. I was
dude.
like, oh man, and Rihanna's in it. Let's
Godzilla-
watch it.
Yeah, Godzilla falls into this too. I think the point is that we still have legends of chaos monsters. We
Yeah.
might not
Mhm.
have dragons specifically, but this portion of our mythos, we should say, like all humans have very appropriate and natural fears. I would argue specifically once you have kids, you're super aware of how dangerous the world is.
Mhm.
And so we still have these things where they are talking about the truth that at any given moment our world could collapse at any given, and I mean that like in a personal way, in a collective way. And so using stories in which there are chaos monsters and something coming from without that then have to be wrestled with. Maybe you rip their arm off, maybe you're George and you subdue him with a crucifix, but there's several different ways in which you can be presented with this concept. And then we use the stories to work through how to fight and defeat a dragon or whatever monster it is.
And it's so satisfying when you see it, you know,
Yes.
and really what I think that was a great pull, because that's the core of what we're talking about, is like what I loved about Pacific Rim on a deep human level beneath the level of my consciousness is the
Beneath
concept
the awesome.
of punching a chaos monster in the face and saying, F you can't have this, and I'm going to punch you in the face, and I'm going to physically destroy you. That's
Right.
that on a deep human level. That's
There's
something
a
that we
deep
all
thing.
want to do, because we're like, screw this, man. No, if I had the
Yeah.
power to blah blah blah, then I would. And now all of a sudden
Right.
you're in a robot suit and you can, or now all of a sudden you're the knight with the sword that can kill this thing,
or you
whatever
just
it
reach
is.
out and you happen to find whatever sword is there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the sword that can defeat
Yeah.
Grendel's mother. Like we see it over and over. And I love that stories can do this for us, where it's just like you kind of can flip on a dime and go, okay, here's all of this chaos. And then here it is. Here's the sword. Let's go. We've got to do
Yeah.
what we've got to do. And so this brings structure to, I think, again, the collective memory of the fact that we're not in control of our lives. Even if we think we're dragon riders, we're really not. And that these stories continue to be true. So are they literally physically true? I kind of hope so. I think it'd be pretty cool.
That'd be
But
cool.
are they true on a different level? Yeah. They're very true.
And like you said, the lessons are definitely, the internal lessons of them are factually solid too. I mean, I think of like, you said something that's just, I think, very much something that everybody can connect to, which is when you don't have kids, you think closer to how people think now in general, where you're
Right.
just like, we got the armor on, they can't touch us, we control it, we ride the dragons.
I'm
And when
gonna
you
live
have-
forever.
You're like, you're literally falling from the sky forever.
I'm immortal.
You
Oh
know?
my god.
Yeah. And then once you have kids, you instantly go like, we could die from syphilis. We could die from a cold. What, you're going out there without a jacket on? You've got
Did
to
you
put a
wash your
jacket
hands?
on.
Did you
Yeah,
wash your
like,
hands?
we're just flipping
What
out
are you putting in your mouth?
Cut
What are
the
you
grape
putting
in
your
half.
mouth?
How many times have I said it? Cut the grape in half before you
You're
eat
gonna
it.
choke
You
from
could
a
choke.
grape. Don't you understand?
M&M, do you have?
Don't you even think?
You have a
Is
death
that a
wish?
hot dog?
Yeah.
We don't buy hot dogs.
That's a big bite. Smaller bites. We eat with smaller bites. Smaller bites. You know, like instantly we go to older things where we're just like, we'll die from everything. We'll die from everything.
Shout out to all the parents. If
Yeah.
you're a parent, post a comment, post a like come on.
And holler to you guys too, because if every parent went through year one where somebody's just like, your kid could just die sleeping,
It's
you're
so
like,
scary, bro.
sleep kills someone. They're like,
Bro,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
It could happen.
we brought Rye back home from the hospital, and we just like have her right next to us, and we're like, we didn't sleep at all that night, bro. It was terrifying.
No.
They were like, go home with this baby. We were like, just go. They're like, yeah, go, get out, leave. And we were like,
You'll be
but
fine.
what do we do? I don't know.
I haven't
Figure
taken
it out.
nearly enough classes for this.
Yeah,
That's it.
crazy.
Look out there. Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
do we have an applause button or anything like that? Mark.
Guess what we do?
I think we need yes. Special thanks to our literary scholar who's actually a literary scholar. And if you have a problem with that, you know what? You should test your knowledge against Lauren's knowledge and see if you can beat
Yeah.
You can.
Good luck.
Feel free to post it in the comments.
Good luck.
We had someone post after the
Oh.
vampire one with some good stuff that we had not gotten a chance to cover, and it was actually
Yeah.
really fun. I was like, oh man, I forgot about that. That would have been so great.
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah.
post some other dragons. We didn't even get to C.S. Lewis, which stinks. But
Yeah.
you know, his is just kind of, in fairness, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is my least favorite chronicle of Narnia. So
I kind of liked that one. It was still pretty good.
I like the
Um,
name.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
a good, yeah, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
It made a
great
movie
name.
too. Yeah.
They did, yeah.
But but by the way,
That's how you really
y'all,
feel.
Lauren says
Steaming
what she
hot
thinks.
garbage.
She says what she thinks, and you gotta love her for it. You got to. In a disingenuous world, there's still someone who says what they think. and
I'm
it's
not
Lauren.
online at all, so if you hate me for it, I won't know. So
She's like,
it's-
Post.
I
Have at
don't care. Dropping the grenade and leaving. Screw you. But look, we are so glad you're here, Lauren. You're the best. Thank you for sharing some of your incredible
Yeah.
knowledge with us.
was
And
fun.
next week we will have another episode, and we are talking about dragons again. And
Oh, Dragons Part 2.
Dragons Part 2. We'll probably think of another title for it because we got special guests, Tudor Ramble, jumping in with us, and now we're ready for that. We
They're
are
back.
ready. Yeah, they're back. We're back.
Lauren came to make sure we know what we're talking about. I got it. This
Yeah.
one,
It took
here
no-
there be dragons. Next
Yeah.
one, there be dragons.
Yes. But me and Mark are gonna be like, so like, what do you think about the chaos monster imagery of the blah 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 blah? And they're gonna be like, wow,
I
those
just
guys
thought
are
of this
smart.
myself.
I don't know what-
I just thought of it
I'll
myself.
just be like, what? I'll be like specifically talking about Chinese dragons, and you'll be like, oh no.
Oh no!
I was
It's
so
still a chaos
My
monster.
notes.
And they're like, it's not. It's a
Not at
god.
all.
It's a mythical being of benevolence. That's so interesting because
No.
I could talk about chaos monsters.
Yeah,
What about Beowulf?
yeah. Well, you know Beowulf. But
You're the one
anyways, let's talk about Zelda. Video games.
He found the sword.
I don't know. Would you guys be okay with me reading to you the quote that I have on the top of my notes because it's just one of my favorites?
Yes.
Is it close worthy? Like, should I play the outer
You
credits?
can decide, but I think so.
I'm gonna play the outro.
Let's do it straight in.
right after you finish.
Guys,
Okay, here we go.
before we do it, thanks for coming to the block. From Mark, Sam, Lauren.
Yes.
Peace. Send us home, Lauren.
Let's hear the quote.
All right, this is G.K. Chesterton.
Ooh.
Fairy tales do not tell children that dragons exist. Children already know dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children that dragons can be killed.
Woo! All right, bro, check this out.